Okay, in this video I'm going to help you guys fix your Polaris overheating problem. So I've been struggling with this a lot and I just now figured it out, so I'm going to make it easy for you guys to figure out how to fix yours. Okay, so if you're like me, you've been trying to figure out this problem, you'll be riding it around for maybe like 10 to 15 to maybe 20 minutes and then it'll just randomly shut off on you. And then if you go to crank it back up, you're able to crank it back up, but it will die again. Oh, there's a car coming. So don't mind the muddy four-wheeler. I just got back from the Badlands in Indiana and it was really fun. But before I went there, I was struggling figuring out this what I thought at the time was an overheating problem. So my four-wheeler would run for like 10 to 15 to 20 minutes and then all of a sudden it would just shut off. I could crank it back up and it would run, but then again I'd be riding it and it would just die again, and it seemed like it was overheating and it seemed really unhappy. So I did some digging and I had like a miscellaneous check engine light come on and off, and I finally got it to read me my code. So if you guys don't know how to read your check engine codes, what you want to do is you want to rotate your key on and then off, on, then off, and then on the third one, leave it on, and it should pop up waiting, and then it should read you your codes, which I have none on here, but as you can see, it says waiting right now, but it's not gonna pop up anything because I don't have any codes. We got a lot of construction rolling through, but that's how you read your codes. And so I had a code 41 and 45, which they're related together because of this one sensor, and the sensor is located right here underneath your rear seat. So if you take these clips off, this air box, take your lid off, and then in here, you can see this clip right here. I'm at this sensor. This sensor was good, but these plugs have really small wires. What the heck? These plugs will have wires coming into them, and the wires won't look damaged, but internally the little brass strands will start to break over time because this tube that they're mounted to moves a lot when the vehicle's running. So if I fire it up, so as you can see, it has a nice little shake to it, which I mean doesn't seem like that crazy, but over many years I guess it just breaks the little strands, and then you have a loose connection in here and it sends a bad signal. And when this sensor isn't sending a signal to the computer or wherever it goes, it makes the four-wheeler, what I've learned, inject too much fuel and make it run really hot, and that's why it'll die on you. So I replaced this plug. I clipped the old one off and I soldered on this new one. I mean, you could use connectors, whatever you want, and then I plugged it in, and then my check engine light never came back on, and I went to the Badlands. I didn't have any overheating problems, and you can tell I rode the four-wheeler hard. So that's your simple fix. But also some other things that I was doing was I flushed my coolant. I made sure I had a clean radiator. I also, right down in here, this hose, or this hose right here, this top hose, leads over to right there where your thermostat is. You might have a bad thermostat, so you might want to check that. And then over on this side, another common problem is right down in here is where this hose goes into your water pump right here. They're plastic little propellers, and they have little circles with flat sides on them that go on the shaft to keep it spinning, but the plastic will become brittle over time and round itself out and not spin anymore, so your water pump might not be spinning and circulating coolant. So that's another issue you might be experiencing. So what I did was I put a new thermostat in mine. I put a new propeller down in here. They make metal kit ones too, so that's another thing you can maybe look at. I flushed my coolant twice. I cleaned my radiator out, and I did all this work, and I knew my fan worked also because it was always kicking on. So I was like, why the heck does it keep dying on me? I never could figure it out. And then I finally got it to read me my codes. And with the codes, it's telling me it was this sensor, and all it was a little 4-wire plug that became damaged over time. So what you can do is unclip your plug, put a test light or a voltmeter in there, and you can measure the voltage from each one. And so I used a test light, and some lights were dim and some were off and some were really bright. If you move the wire as you have the test light in and it gets brighter or dimmer or turns off, you know that you have a damaged wire. So that's another way you can figure it out if yours is good or bad. Don't yank on them too hard, but like just a little bit of movement should be able to show you that problem. So get your four-wheeler fixed and get back out there on the trails, guys, because it's just a simple little fix. It was like $6 clip. I'll leave the clip down in the link below so you guys can go order it from there and get your four-wheeler up and going again. Along with, I'll leave the link to all the thermostat and the water pump and the front fan if that's something else you're struggling with. But that's all the main components to the four-wheeler overheating. And then maybe there's some other things about your gas will get too hot. You got to make sure you still have the insulation underneath your gas tank. So if I come over to the other side, you can see there's this little like insulation stuff to keep your gas tank from getting too hot from that exhaust manifold. So you want to make sure you still have that on, and if not, maybe it's heating up your gas tank gas, but that's very rare. And I've heard on the forums they talk about fuel pump replacements, and you don't have to do that most likely. Most likely you're having an issue with this sensor, so stop wasting your time on the forums and just give that a try and see how she goes. Thanks for watching. See you guys on the next one. Bye.